to our next segment, and now it gets really interesting because you saw we went to Barcelona, but we didn't go there just to speak with FIRA and with ISB, but we really wanted to get to know the city, want to get to know the most interesting digital signage projects. And we probably got you the top 3, most likely the top 5 insider installations we believe you should see next February when you come to Barcelona. So MyCity Barcelona is our next segment, the best of digital signage, and Stefan Schika talked with Joan Aiksha from Maverick Tech Data, and he showed us around his city.
So we were very lucky to have a local showing us around Barcelona today, giving us good impressions of the city and especially of some great digital signage projects in the city. Joan, you're local. And we want to talk about these projects now, see some highlights in digital signage and AV in Barcelona.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. So yes, today we started just at the heart of the city in Plaza Catalunya, and we were visiting the most known one probably, which is the Triangle shopping mall, the Esfera shop, and that was quite impressive LED installation. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, for me it was the first time that I saw it in live. I've seen many pictures of it before, but it's always different when you actually walk through it. And it's really impressive. It's the entrance or the shopping center itself is kind of like hidden, but then you have this walkway into the store, which is really, really impressive. And then when you come down the stairs, and it's a great shop. But from a digital signage and AV perspective, what are your highlights in this store?
So I think we should highlight first of all the wow effect that the LED achieves, inviting people to enter into the shop, but also how the content is managed, and this is probably the most important thing, how you maintain the content and a content that is attractive and it's up to date. So we see also small screens in the shop that keeps being updated, and that's always the mix of the right integrator, the right content management system. Yeah, so an example of a signage project.
As always, and the store is pretty old by now. Do you know when it was built?
Not exactly, but it's already old from an LED point of view. So we have seen now that it's more common to see LED in shops, but it's still keeping this feeling of having a wall, plenty of light and content. Yeah.
So, but then you showed us some real great stuff that probably less people have seen before. We went to an optician. You would normally think opticians
sell glasses.
Sell glasses, not very spectacular, but this one was really great one. They were using LED at the entrance, but then throughout the store it was less. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, you asked me about different installations, and of course we have this big LED installation, but I think with the 2 examples we saw after the Sephora one, I wanted to really explain how you can transmit an experience, and Cotet, the optician, is a good example. You have the LED that invites you to enter into the shop, so retains and captures the attention from the people who walks by. But then inside the shop there is technology, but you cannot even perceive it. It's not invasive. And the good thing that these companies are investing a lot of money, having building their own shop, their own experience in the city of Barcelona. And we have been invited to know the history of this company. It's a 200 years old history, and it tells how a family has built this business from almost zero.
Yes.
So it's good.
And they really have a story to tell. You can see that in that store. And I think they did a great job in mixing natural elements like the green wall in the back with digital elements and also interactive digital elements. They have a lift and learn experience there. They have an interactive touch screen, I think for the lenses.
Yeah.
And in the ground floor, all different kinds of services, but also always mixing it with their history. So I think it's a really, really nice example that you had there for us.
It's like we have been in a museum, no? Somehow, knowing the history from the early days till today. And as you said, the technology, lift and land technology is quite impressive, no? With an LED screen in the background. So that was quite a good example, no? How to use technology embedded in this environment.
And they are creating an experience. But talking about experience, we visited another great example, a travel shop. That's actually been built into a former cinema. They rebuilt a cinema to have this really experiential travel shop where you can learn about destinations, but it's also an event location. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I mean, the building itself is amazing, so it's huge, no? And you never think that a travel agency will use this space, no, to have a location, because you think that you go to a travel agency, a 3-4 desk, and you have someone with a brochure, no, selling you a trip to somewhere. No, the experience you have in this environment, it's just amazing, and especially nowadays that we are almost banned to travel, we cannot travel, and we're thinking about when it's going to be possible to visit further locations. So I think I love this shop because it really makes me feel what I want when I travel, which is it's an experience, no? And again, there is technology, but it's not invasive. So there are fewer screens. Some of them are touch screens, so you can interact. But what they want is to really invite you to talk with them, to spend some time in different areas. They mentioned that they are not receiving you in a desk. They receive you in the restaurant, so having a coffee, understanding what are your needs. And then you can experience, no? And they are experts, by the way. They really have experts, people who have been living in the destinations to talk about what you can see during the trip, no? So I think it's a good example. And they told us, no, that they are using these spaces also with other companies to do events, and I think that's great, no? When you have big companies, no, combining and joint venturing projects. So I think it's a good example of how a traditional business like the travel agency can now become a more experience in the shop, no? And how you have this aspirational feeling. So it's great.
So what I really liked about it is the flexibility of the space. They are using the different elements on projection. It kind of looked in daylight. Probably they should have used a better projector, but that's a different story. But I can imagine that during an event at night when you dim down the lights, it's really nice. So you can actually do presentations there. You have the auditorium. You're mixing in different elements like AR experience at the very entrance, but it's not as an AR that's just for one person, but you have the LED wall so everybody else can see what the person is seeing. So they're making very smart use of that technology that they built in the space, and it gives the space great flexibility, I think.
It's a good example of implementing different technologies, LED screens, LFD screens, touch screens, VR technology, projection, even meeting rooms. We've seen some meeting rooms, so there is a lot of AV stuff there. So good example of how AV can enrich an experience, no?
So those were great examples for retail, but we also saw other examples with big LED walls, but in a different context, more like the corporate lobby context. Can you tell us a bit more about these projects we saw there?
Yeah, so again, we all know that the retail is the big part of the signage business, but we know also that the corporate communications are also a big portion of this vertical, and that's why it's important. And I wanted to show you a couple of good examples where signage could be implemented in lobbies or in corporate environments. So we visit first a bank. So yes, it was a bank, even though it looked like a bar. So you were welcome like a bar with a bar and so on. It's a bank, and they have a fantastic LED installation, a curved LED that really welcomes you to enter. So what do you think about the column?
So I think that the column looks really amazing. I mean, from ground floor up to first floor, this round column and the curved wall behind just gives you a great canvas there to play content. But it was, I mean, for me, it didn't feel like a bank. The whole thing, and I learned it used to be a bar, and it still looks more like a bar than like a bank. And so you have these cozy little corners. Where you can read a book or just sit there and have a coffee.
Never forget it's a bank.
Yeah, you never forget that because they have the money to spend on such a large LED wall. But it's really, really impressive and very nice experience again.
Mm. And the good thing is you also can see the installation from outside, because it's actually in one of the main squares here in Barcelona, which I think is good for the brand, no? to show this type of investments and technology.
And the last thing we saw was again a lobby of a office building, and there it was interesting. I mean, they had a really large LED wall again, but the content was the key thing there. I think they had like a 20 minutes loop talking about climate change. What do you think about that? Why did you choose that project to show to us?
I choose them because it's also very brave. No, normally because that is an office building, so there are many companies. So normally you're thinking about taking advantage of this investment, no, and selling the content to those companies. But in this case, they are keeping the same content for a good reason. Which is the climate change, and I think it's good. Even though we discussed that the content is too long, you're not going to be 20 minutes watching the entire content. The images, the data that they are showing, and the information that you can get maybe in 5 minutes, it's good enough to have a taste of what they want to achieve. No? And so I think it's another angle, no, of having this kind of installation in a lobby.
Yes, and it's an important message that they are sending, and we see that more and more in projects that sustainability and green is becoming a really, really big topic, also for the digital signage industry. Having this great content there reminded me of that. That's many companies do care more about environment and nature and energy usage and things like that. So thank you very much. It was really great being shown around Barcelona by a local and actually a native from Barcelona. For everybody thinking about coming to Barcelona, there's great stuff to see, great retail, great lobbies. So if you come for ISE next year, or if you come on a business or personal trip to Barcelona, many things to check out. Just few of the examples you'll find in the city center of Barcelona.